welcome to Slow and Not Steady with your host today, Elizabeth. Sometimes we have an idea on how we want things to play out in our life, but truth be told, that idea doesn't always come to fruition. I know in this season of my life personally, everything went up in the air. The plan I had, my 5-year plan out the window. 1 year plan out the window. 2 year plan, just my plan for life was completely shattered. You know, we as people, well, I'm not going to say we, it depends on the person, but I know for me personally, y'all, my timeline, the timeline for the trajectory in which I wanted my life to go into was high up there. It was extremely important to me. I had it all planned out. Finish college, get a job, travel, maybe meet my little boo thing or whatever. Get married, have kids, live my life, family, grow old, die, yada yada, the whole shebang. Pretty common. But the crazy thing is, the way life works is you can have an idea, you can have a timeline set up, but 9 times out of 10, it's not going to go how you think it's going to go. And for me, there was a complete wrench thrown in my plans. And that wrench for me was when I got pregnant. Junior year of college. Not finished with undergrad. Not married. Relationship kind of rocky. And ended up ending. But all that being said, nowhere in my timeline did I make room to be pregnant my junior year in college and still not be with a man that, you know. And this season has been one of the roughest moments of my life. I mean, not everyone it's as drastic. Maybe you didn't get pregnant. Maybe you didn't get into the college that you wanted. Maybe you didn't get into the program you wanted. Maybe it wasn't the job. Whatever it may be, when things don't necessarily go with your timeline, you're crushed. I was crushed. I'll speak more on my personal experience. When I found out I was pregnant, I was crushed. Because that's not what I planned. That's not how I wanted things to go. Granted, I will hold full accountability and full responsibility. There were steps that I could have taken. I could have got an abortion. I could have taken a plan B. I could have been on birth control. I could have, all these things I could have done. We could have used protection, but didn't necessarily happen because that wasn't how things planned out. I was on birth control, but then I got off of it. It's a whole different story. Plan B was brought up, but then I thought I was tripping. And he was like, no, don't take it. So, I didn't take it. Boom, boom, boom. 4 weeks later. Or my period was 4 days late, y'all. And on that fourth day, I don't know, it's weird. Tangent. But girls who are pregnant or who gotten pregnant, did y'all just know when y'all were pregnant? Because I swear I knew that I was pregnant the moment I got pregnant, but I was in denial until I saw that positive pregnancy test. And even when I did see the positive pregnancy test, I still was in denial. Bro, I took so many tests. I'm like, no, I gotta be a false positive. It wasn't. I'm pregnant, like 8 months in, baby pop out. February 24th, next month or whatever. But back to what I was saying. That wasn't a part of the plan. That was not a part of the script. I was supposed to be in college. I'm in college right now. Like, I'm supposed to be graduating soon, getting my job, getting some clinical experiences, going off to PA school, figuring things out, figuring my life out, growing into the woman that I need to become, potentially finding my husband, all that different kind of stuff. But when all that happened, everything for me personally just kind of spiraled out of control. Like I completely lost control of my life. And my plan shifted. I was to be graduating 2022, but now it's looking more like 23-ish because I really just had to sit down and take a break from everything because I was so overwhelmed, depressed. Like when I say it was not a good time for me, it wasn't. It was bad. And that's how life is, you know? You have an idea, you have your goals, your plans, what you want to do, and then, things just happen. And you got to adapt and you got to change your schedule, change your plans, change the way you're moving to accommodate for that change, to accommodate for the little gaps and holes you didn't leave in your timeline. And I don't know if people really talk about it, but it's so, so, so saddening when your timeline doesn't go the way you wanted it to go. It sucks. It's a terrible feeling because now it's just like you're on the bus, I guess, or you're outside looking in. Everyone's having a grand old time, and you're kind of stuck. You're stuck. And I know you're not supposed to be comparing. It's like you're never supposed to compare yourself to others. Everyone's on their journey, blase, blase. But just imagine you mentally wanted to be somewhere and you're seeing all these other people where you want to be at, but because something happened in your life, you're not there. It's hard not to beat yourself up about that. It's hard not to beat yourself up over that. There we go, fixed it. English. But it's hard not to beat yourself up over that. It's hard not to feel insignificant because your timeline went up into ashes. It's hard not to get discouraged. You will be discouraged. I was discouraged. It was for a cool little minute that I was in a really bad space. So bad I could not do nothing. I couldn't eat. I couldn't talk to people. I just slept because that's how bad of a space that I was in because my timeline was disrupted. I was upset with myself, with the situation, with how things played out. I despise my unborn kid. Like, I mean, no, did I? I can't remember. Like I said, it just wasn't a good time. I was lucky though. I had my family, and my family, they were really supportive towards it all with everything because I think um they could they could see on my face, my demeanor, my actions that this was really killing me on the inside. So I till this day I cannot thank God enough for blessing me with the family that I had because they really were nothing but supportive, and without them I do not know where I would be right now. I don't know how I would have responded to things. I felt like a failure. But I remember me and my father, we were driving around in a car, and I was just like, Daddy, I feel like such a failure. I'm not even done with college. I haven't even graduated yet. Like, me and him, we're not on the best of terms, and I'm pregnant. Like, how am I supposed to bring a kid into this world? And all these things, like, I didn't plan on this. And my dad was just like, maybe it'll be a blessing in disguise. You're talking about medical school, you're always concerned about starting a family and like whether or not like it would be enough time because by the time you graduate, you'll be older. Will you be willing? Will you want to have kids? Like a whole bunch of things. So maybe starting your family a little early and having a kid early, that doesn't stop you from your dream. That doesn't stop you from going to where you want to go. Just because things aren't going according to plan doesn't mean that they're not going to go, that they aren't going to happen. I was like, Daddy, are you disappointed in me? Because growing up, I was the child, y'all. Good grades, didn't get into stuff, never any trouble. Like, I guess I was the quote unquote golden child. Like, I had no problem. School, everything without a hitch. Like, boom, boom, boom. Graduated a year early from high school, got into college early, like a whole bunch of different stuff. And when this happened, I felt like a disappointment, not only to myself, but to my parents. And I was like, Daddy, like, are you disappointed in me? Like, am I a disappointment to you? I feel like such a disappointment. And he's like, No, you're not. He's like, I'm proud of you. Like, I'm proud of all my kids. You're not a disappointment. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I may have shed a tear or two. Because just getting that confirmation from your parent or from your father, especially about, hey, listen, yeah, this happened, but you know what? It's not the end all be all. You're going to be okay. You got us. Everything will work out. You don't have nothing to worry about. Just take this time, focus on yourself, focus on your health. Don't worry about nothing. You'll be okay. And because of them, that really helped me with the whole transition of my timeline not going how I wanted it to. And don't get me wrong, I'll be on Instagram and I'll see like my friends posting about how graduation is coming up, and I would just get so sad because I'm like, man, that's supposed to be me. That's supposed to be blah, blah, blah. But I came to realize another thing is that there are seasons. Different seasons call for different things. Like in the season that I was in when I first found out my pregnancy, that was a really low season for me. But because of that low season, I came out of it stronger. I came out of it with more, I feel like, perseverance, a better head on my shoulder, a better understanding of who I am as a woman, what I will and what I won't tolerate, all that stuff. So a wrench in my timeline turned out to be working out for the better, you know? And all I just want to say is that it's okay. It's okay when things don't go according to plan. It's okay when you got to start all over, rebuild, replan, recreate your timeline. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with starting over. We hate it. I hate it. But there's nothing wrong with it. We need to understand sometimes that things happen when they need to happen. Because of this pregnancy, I left situations that weren't beneficial towards me. I started growing, like, developing, strengthening my mind, understanding that, hey, Liz, in a couple of months, it's not just going to be you, but there's going to be a little human that's going to be relying on you, and you're going to need to be at your best mental state because that they deserve that. So it really caused me kind of to take a step back and pause and focus on myself, focus on where I am mentally, focus on where I am emotionally, try to further elevate myself mentally, physically, spiritually, all that stuff, to try to become the best version of myself that I can become for the sake of my unborn child. And I think that's really the beauty of things. Because even when we don't understand why our timeline went the way that it did, why there was a wrench in our plans, once you get past the initial disappointment and you really kind of just soak in the season that you're in, take your lessons. Look around, ask yourself, what is this season trying to teach me? What do I need to learn? What am I trying to figure out? What can I take from this? How can this season help push me forward and elevate me forward? What lessons can I learn to bring to my next season? Because every situation that you're in, you can learn something from it and grow from it. But it's up to you. Either you can sit and mope around and be upset because things didn't necessarily go how you wanted it to go, or you can allow yourself to feel, be in your emotions, because you will be in your emotions. I was for a couple of months. But then when you feel like enough is enough, just stand up tall, brush yourself off, and be like, okay, how can I make this, how can I work this to my advantage? How can I move things and shake things around and be in my advantage? What can I learn from this that I can take moving forward? How am I growing? How am I developing? And that's what you just got to do. Because at the end of the day, y'all, time don't stop for nobody. It doesn't. It doesn't. So we got to keep it pushing. And I'll say the last most important thing that I learned in the timeline is don't rush the process. Enjoy every moment of it, or really allow yourself to dive and indulge in every moment of it. Because maybe where you're at right now is where you need to be. And sometimes we're so eager and looking forward for the next step, the next season, the next place, that we don't sit down and we don't appreciate where we are for what it is. And that's something I learned from a man named Tony Gaskins. Because somewhere in the future, you'll be looking back like, man, I wish I appreciated that more. Man, I wish I soaked in that moment more. Don't allow yourself the chance to look back and regret. Take everything in for what it is in the moment. Don't rush anything. You're exactly where you need to be for the time being. That's a mindset. Maybe you should shift your mindset to that. I'm exactly where I need to be for the time being. What can I learn from this moment? How did my actions lead up to my moment? What could I have done differently to lead up to this moment? And take a time to really sit back and start to evaluate yourself, evaluate your actions, hold yourself accountable for putting yourself in certain types of positions. Because one thing we gonna do, if there's a wrench in our plan, we gonna grow from it. Because we have to. Start collecting the lessons so you can look back and teach somebody else about them. So when you're older, you can appreciate that it wasn't just a straight shot. You had some obstacles and journeys, obstacles that you had to overcome, and you overcame them to end up where you are. Just some food for thought. Much love.